The Champions League semi-finals have been and gone. We've had some absolutely fantastic matchups and made a load of money on them as well. But now it's time to head back to the domestic leagues as we break down the Saturday soccer slate. What's happening, everyone? Sam, aka FIFA Brit from Gold Boys. And yeah, pretty great week of Champions League. Couple of interesting Europa League games as well, but the Champions League was the main movie going on this week. And yeah, it was a pretty good week, all things considered. But now it's time to check out the Premier League. That really is the league with the most stuff still at stake. So that's what we're going to be focusing on for the Saturday soccer slate. As always, this video is sponsored by Sleeper Picks. Stay tuned for more on that later. First game we've got going on Saturday morning is a nice bright and early 7:30 Eastern Time kickoff between Fulham and Man City. Now, I feel like I've been playing this game for the past month or two, but it's time to play the lovely fun game of will Man City drop points? And the answer is probably no, unfortunately. And that's really kind of it. You know, the value on Man City sucks. So if you want to bet on players that play for City, you really have to hope that Haaland is out, because if Haaland is out, that opens up a lot more opportunities. You can look at guys like Julian Alvarez if he's playing a striker. You can look at De Bruyne, who had a really great streak of first half shots when Haaland was sitting for a couple of games in a row. And then maybe you can look at guys like Foden or Doku as well if you're feeling a little spicy. You know, it really depends who Pep throws out there. But if Haaland plays up front, it's really all over, you know, because there's never any value on Haaland, and when Haaland's playing, he takes up so much shot volume and attention that really no one else is getting enough to make their juiced Man City favourite lines worth taking. So, wake up early, check the lineup. If Haaland is playing, not really worth it. Now, on the Fulham side, there could be some interesting value, especially because there are a few ex-Arsenal players playing for Fulham. Now, do they really care about how Arsenal do if they win the league or not? Probably not, but maybe they do. They used to play for us. I can't imagine they would like City, you know. They're going to celebrate as a Fulham player, obviously, but maybe there's a little added motivation there going on. If you look at ex-Arsenal players, Willian, Iwobi, and Bernd Leno in goal. Now, there aren't going to be any Leno props, although I guess there is still the saves market, but honestly, if City are putting shots on target, my guess is they're going to score them. So, I'm not really sure about the saves market. I also don't really like the saves market in general. Feels like an incredibly specific thing to bet on if you're betting on shots on target, but you don't want them to score. Feels, you know, weird thing to root for, in my opinion. If you're good at it, go right ahead. You're not going to hear that from me, though. So, Leno props are kind of out of the question. I don't even know if Willian's been playing recently. I'll be perfectly honest. I feel like he's been old. I feel like he's getting injured. But Iwobi, on the other hand, does play. And Iwobi's one of those guys where he might not shoot for an entire game, or he might take 2 or 3 shots in the first half. So if the numbers are really nice, I'm going to back Iwobi, because Muniz, for the first time in like 3 months, didn't get a shot in the first half last week, which is wild. He was literally on like a 12 to 15 game streak of getting at least 1 shot in the first half. And for the first time in God knows how long, he didn't get one. So maybe this time it's an Iwobi game. But the problem is, you're playing City. Yes, Fulham are the team at home, but they've not got much to play for, and City are City, so they're probably going to win this game. And honestly, Fulham might not even score. So just manage your expectations accordingly. But if I see Iwobi or even Willian in the starting lineup, I'll have a little sprinkle on their shots, just because maybe there's added motivation there. Outside of that, if it comes to the City side of things, just give me Haaland on the bench. You know, at least then you can live bet him. I mean, even then the odds suck. Like, even then, if he subs on like the 80th minute, he's still going to be like plus 200, which is fucking horrific. So, just give me Haaland not starting so I can get some nice value on City first half shots. Outside of that, not really much going on in this game. So, we'll move on to the next one. Bournemouth against Brentford. I'll keep this one nice and short and simple. This game fucking sucks. I hate both of these teams, and neither of them have anything to play for. So, yeah. Bournemouth used to have a ton of really good shooters. Well, they still do have really good shooters. Problem is, the books know that the shooters are really good shooters, so the odds kind of suck, and they don't shoot as much as they used to, like a couple of months ago, so not really worth it for me. If a guy like Philip Billing or Alex Scott is playing attacking mid, or Ryan Christie playing on the wing, something like that, you know, someone who used to play like defensive mid is playing in the front 4, That's nice. That's value. Then I'm interested in this Bournemouth game again. But Brentford, I mean, Tony hasn't scored in like, what, 2 months? And yeah, don't really care about this game. Teams have nothing to play for. And it's really just going to be a case of checking lineups and hoping someone is out of position so I can hammer their shots. Next one I'm going to talk about is Everton against Sheffield. This is a weird one because technically these teams have nothing to play for. Everton are safe and Sheffield are relegated. So I kind of wish that the relegation battle was still going on because otherwise this game would have been an absolute banger, especially towards the end of the season. But both of these teams have already sealed their fate. So team-wise, nothing really to play for. That being said, one of my favourite players on Sheffield United is Ben Brereton Diaz. I've been betting on his first half shots, his shot on target, his goals. The past few weeks he's been really delivering, especially because Sheffield really had to push for results, though the urgency was there. But even now that they're relegated, the dude is still taking shots, and he's still scoring. I mean, he scored last week, and FanDuel hung like plus 300 on him. Yeah, it was a penalty, but like, that's still crazy. That's a wild number. So, my theory is that he's going to be looking for a move in the summer transfer window because he's playing at Sheffield on loan from Villarreal. If Villarreal loaned him out to a relegation-threatened and now doomed Premier League team, my guess is they're not really looking to keep him. Maybe they are. Maybe it was just so he could get more playing time, although why they signed him from Blackburn only to then not play him in La Liga, I don't know. Weird choice. But maybe he goes back and impresses in La Liga, or maybe he goes somewhere else. Either way, this is a great time for him to show that he deserves playing time, whether it's at Villarreal or whether it's at any other club that's interested in signing him. So if he's starting either at striker or at left wing, depending on how Sheffield line up, yeah, give me Brereton Diaz props. The guy's an absolute baller, and he's looking to ball out right now. Next game we're going to talk about is Newcastle against Brighton. This one is pretty simple. Newcastle at home are significantly better than Newcastle playing away. And they also have added motivation in that they need to hold on to the 6th place spot and secure any place in European competition. Maybe they manage to sneak into 5th, it's unlikely, but they should at least be finishing 6th and get themselves into the Conference League. The problem is that Man U and Chelsea are both catching up. Man U have a pretty difficult run and they have to play Arsenal, tough matchup, but Chelsea are actually on a pretty solid streak right now. So Newcastle really need to get a win here at home against a Brighton side that is not looking very good. They looked somewhat okay last week. They were actually getting shots off for once. So good for them. But Newcastle at home should be getting the job done. Isak is in great form right now. So if you have any combination of Isak first half shots, an Isak goal, and a Newcastle win, you really probably can't go wrong. Next game we're going to talk about is Spurs against Burnley. This game is important for both teams, so that's exciting. It's nice to have two teams that actually care. Spurs, they're kind of out of the Champions League qualification race at this point. There are several points behind Aston Villa. They do have a game in hand, but even if they won it, I believe it would take them within 4 points. And with 2 games to go at that point, that's a long gap to catch up on, especially as Villa, even though they don't look brilliant right now, have essentially got this thing locked up. So, do Spurs really have something to play for? Yeah, kind of. They're involved in the top 4 race the same way that Liverpool are involved in the title race. Yeah, mathematically they're involved, but it's probably done. But they're going to want to lock up that 5th spot. That will get them Europa League, which, let's be honest, is more their level. Spurs are a pretty small club, all things considered. Europa League, that's their level. That's what they should be going for. And honestly, I think at the end of the day, they'll be happy with that. They need a win. They need to stat pad against some, proper mid-table European sides. So we'll give them this one. Burnley, on the other hand, are fighting for survival. Technically, they're not relegated yet, but they're definitely in the worst shape out of the teams that are still around, which is Forest, Luton, and then Burnley themselves. Burnley are second bottom, and it's looking pretty desperate right now. So they really need a win here. Honestly, at this point, it's really win or nothing. Draws are not going to get you anything, especially if the teams around you are getting wins as well. And Forest and Luton both have good opportunities to get points on the board this weekend, which we're going to talk about very shortly. So, Burnley need a win here. And honestly, even though I don't respect Spurs, I don't see Burnley getting any points here. Although, just to continue my Spurs slander for a little bit, Spurs are at home playing against a Premier League side that is about to get relegated. And both teams to score is minus 280. That's how shit Spurs' defense is. It's like one of the most ridiculously short odds on both teams to score in the Premier League that I've seen. And Spurs, it's all because Spurs can't defend. And it's Burnley. So that's really funny to me. So we should be getting a back and forth game here. Both teams want to win this one. The problem is that the books kind of know this, unfortunately. The total line for this game is 3.5. Not brilliant, and I'm certainly not betting that. I'm not going to say bet the under, but I'm not betting the over. So it's going to be one of those ones where I look at first half shots and I hope to God that Spurs remember how to attack, because Son has looked useless. Fuck knows what Kulusevski's doing. Brennan Johnson, I feel like nobody's talking about the fact that Spurs paid like 50 million for Brennan Johnson, and he's done fuck all season. So now that Timo Werner is most likely out for the rest of the season, Brennan Johnson's going to be getting starts. I like his first half shot. He's been one of the few guys that's actually shooting the fucking ball for Spurs, because Son is not getting involved at all and looks like a ghost of his former self. Hasn't looked the same since he came back from the Asia Cup a few months ago at the beginning of the year, which is crazy because he's supposed to be one of their best players. So, fuck knows. That being said, if Richarlison gets to start at striker, I will probably take Richarlison props because he just got left out of the Brazil side. So, I'd be mad if I was him. And this is particularly ironic because Richarlison posted on TikTok that he was the first choice striker for Brazil and that Gabriel, the Arsenal centre-back, was the last choice centre-back. Guess who's going to the Copa America for Brazil? Gabriel is. Guess who's not going? Richarlison. So, suck on that, you Spurs wanker. But that being said, if he does play, I'm taking his props. Because he should be mad. And if you play mad, you're going to shoot the ball. Fuck knows if he scores, but he's probably going to shoot the ball. So, keep an eye on that one. On the Burnley side, I'm going back to the guys that I've bet on before for first half shots, and they've delivered for me. Bryn Larson, Odegaard, especially if he's playing a striker, Fofana, Lyle Foster, guys like that. Whoever's playing a striker, although Bryn Larson loves to shoot if he's playing, honestly, like outside mid, and for Burnley, that's basically sitting pretty deep. They need to attack, so he's going to push forward, and he had like 3 or 4 shots in the first half last weekend. So yeah, Bryn Larson probably the main guy, but Foster cashed me a lot, which was really nice. So look at him as well. It all depends on who's starting up top if you're choosing between Foster, Fofana, and Odegaard. Next game we're going to talk about is West Ham against Luton. West Ham look shit and have nothing else to play for, apart from a David Moyes farewell tour. But honestly, I feel like they don't care about David Moyes anymore, which kind of sucks because he won them the Conference League. It's their first trophy in, several decades. So kind of thought they would care more about him as a manager, but clearly they don't because they fired him. So who knows if they even care about this game. But you know who does care about this game? Luton do, because they really need points here. They are 3 points behind Forest, and Forest played Chelsea. That's one of the next games we're going to talk about, so stay tuned for that one. But Forest played Chelsea. Chelsea look really good. Big chance that Forest drop points here, so Luton really need to get that win, which would put them level on points going into the final day, which would be fucking awesome. Like, that would be so cool. That's what we need on deadline day, because usually shit's wrapped up on deadline day. Apart from like Champions League qualification or something like that. It's very rare that a title race and relegation have gone down to the final day in recent history. So give me that. Give me that deadline day drama. We love that stuff. So yeah, Luton props. Barkley shot on target. He takes their free kicks. Who else? Adebayo, if he's playing up top. Love his first half shot. Carlton Morris. Tanith Chong. If they're playing on the wings, they play as like inside forwards. Love their first half shots as well. All of those guys. It'll probably be an odds dependent thing on who I actually bet on, because I really like all of them. So whoever has the nicer odds, that's probably going to be who I bet on. But those are the guys that I'm interested in.
Wait, before we get back to the picks, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Friends don't let friends watch videos without hitting the like button. So go ahead and press the thumbs up button and like the video. If you're new here and not subscribed, you should go ahead and do so, because we're dropping new content each and every day on the Goal Boys Network. We strive to cover every sport and give out picks and analysis and valuable information for free on the Gold Boys Network. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you can get notified when we drop something new. I'm Brad Thomas. Let's get back to the picks.
Next game I'm going to talk about, I'm covering it very quickly because there's not much to say. Wolves against Crystal Palace. Neither team has much to play for here, so there's not really much motivation. That being said, if Palace have either Elise or Eze starting, then first half shots to score or assist, those guys are absolutely cooking right now. Particularly Elise, who just made Man U his bitch. So, yeah. If Elise starts, fucking love some Elise props. Absolutely love them. But if they don't, then that game's a no-touch for me. Because Palace without Elise and Eze aren't that good, even with their new manager having them playing really solidly recently. So, need to see those players. I've covered that in previous videos. If Elise and Eze aren't playing, not really interested in Palace. And I definitely don't give a shit about Wolves. What's up, everyone? I just want to say a special thank you to the sponsor of this video, Sleeper Picks. Don't forget that you can use code GOLDBOYS to get a deposit match of up to $500 if you sign up today. Thank you again, Sleeper Picks, for sponsoring this video. And now, back to the bets. Last game for the Saturday soccer slate is the one I mentioned earlier, Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. Forest are at home, and they really need some points here to essentially secure them safety. I think with a 3-point gap, no, technically with 2 games to go, there'd still be room for Luton to do it, but Forest have like a 10 goal difference advantage on them, so it would be pretty difficult for Luton to gain it back at that point. So Forest need points here, and they're playing Chelsea. Now Chelsea at home are really, really good. They haven't lost in like 8 home games. I think their last loss was back in March against Wolves. Playing on the road is a little different. Chelsea still aren't brilliant, but I still think they're better than Forest. I think this could be a really good game, very solid back and forth. Forest have a lot of good guys, Gibbs White, Chris Wood. Someone to note as well is Callum Hudson-Odoi. He used to play for Chelsea. He's a Chelsea Academy product, and they got rid of him. So if he's starting at left wing, give me Hudson-Odoi first half shots. He's been scoring recently. He had a really nice goal last weekend. So keep an eye on him. There's a very, very nice angle for him to be motivated here to get revenge. Well, not revenge, but stick it to his former club. So keep an eye on him. I like him. I like Gibbs White. I like Chris Wood for Forest. And then on the Chelsea side, it's the Cole Palmer show. Cole Palmer first half shots have been an absolute wagon. I think he's maybe not had a first half shot I think once or twice in 2024. I think against City, which was annoying because that was a revenge spot because City sold him and he didn't even shoot once in that game. So that kind of sucked. But yeah, Cole Palmer first half shots to score an assist. The guy is absolutely killing it for them this year. He's been a very, very solid signing. And then outside of that, Mudryk didn't shoot much the last game, but he's usually good. Madueke's good for shots, and honestly, Nicholas Jackson's starting to look good again as well. It really depends on where Palmer is playing, and it's going to depend on the odds. So let's see how they line up. Let's see what the odds look like on game day, and we can go from there. But this game, I think, could be sneakily really, really nice. As always, all of my plays that I lock in officially will be in my Discord channel in Gold Boys. Sign up today. It's a great time to join. goldboys.com. The link will be in the description below. As I mentioned earlier, if you're not following me on Twitter, it is at FIFABrit. I will try and share plays there as well, but no promises, but I do my best. So follow me there, and I will do my best to have at least a first half shot builder out for the Saturday slate. And yeah, that concludes our recap of the Saturday soccer slate. As always, if you do think you have a gambling problem, don't forget to call the number 1-800-GAMBLER. And yeah, have a fantastic weekend, guys. Stay tuned for Sunday's video covering the Sunday soccer slate. If you aren't subscribed to the Gold Boys YouTube channel, go ahead, do that right now. Turn on notifications, drop a like on this video, and let me know what your favorite bet is on Saturday's games. Best of luck with all your bets, and I'll catch you in the next one.